Hey everyone, welcome back to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide as we methodically unpack the most crucial daily updates, all directly mapped to your general studies syllabus. Look, if you're gearing up for the UPSC Civil Services examination, you already know that keeping up with the daily news can feel totally overwhelming. It's like drinking from a fire hose, right? But hey, that is exactly why we're here. We're going to transform those dense newspaper columns into a highly structured visual learning experience that actually maximizes your attention and gets you exam ready. Okay, so here is our quick structural roadmap for today. We'll start with global ties and defense updates, then move into polity focusing on electoral roll deletions. After that, governance and OTT platform regulation, followed by breakthroughs in quantum computing, and we'll wrap up with environment and earth sciences. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Global Ties and Defense Updates. This first topic is absolutely crucial for your GS Paper 2 and 3. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his New Zealand counterpart, Christopher Luxon, have officially elevated the relationship between our two nations to a strategic partnership. And this isn't just some symbolic handshake for the cameras. It comes with a seriously ambitious economic target. They've actually set a goal to double bilateral trade to 35,000 crore rupees by the year 2030. But let's look beyond just the trade numbers, because the talks actually yielded 18 concrete outcomes. The really key takeaway here is the strategic maritime focus. They secured agreements on hydrographic data sharing and mutual naval logistics. Now, for two maritime nations, this is a massive step towards ensuring freedom of navigation and building a peaceful Indo-Pacific. They've also set up a joint working group on counterterrorism. It's a perfect example of how economic partnerships are becoming completely intertwined with regional security frameworks these days. Shifting gears to domestic defense production, the Indian Navy just commissioned the INS Mahendragiri over in Visakhapatnam. This is the sixth advanced P-17A class stealth frigate named after the mountain range in the Eastern Ghats. Now, what you really need to jot down for your prelims is its sophisticated propulsion system. It uses a combined diesel or gas setup known as CODOG alongside its indigenous combat systems. It's honestly a prime example of the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, literally transforming India into a major hub for warship manufacturing. Now, beyond all the impressive hardware, the human element was front and center during the commissioning. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh made a really profound point. He acknowledged the rapid rise of transformative tech, things like artificial intelligence, drones, hypersonic weapons, but he firmly emphasized that human resolve and the expertise of trained soldiers are still the ultimate bedrock of national security. That is a fantastic, nuanced perspective to keep in your back pocket if you're writing an essay on the future of warfare. Moving right along to Section 2, Polity and Electoral Roll Deletions. Get a load of this number from the Election Commission's recent special intensive revision. 23.8 lakh. That is a massive chunk of names, representing 6.39% of the total electors in the region that have just been removed from the draft voter lists across 4 states and 1 union territory. This is all part of the EC's rigorous process to clean up and update the electoral database before the final rolls are actually published. When we break down where these deletions actually happened, the contrast is pretty wild. The deletion rate hit a staggering 30% in the Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. And the EC data points out that the vast majority of these were just untraceable voters. On the flip side, Mizoram had the lowest proportion of deletions at just 5.2%. But if we look at absolute numbers, Odisha recorded the highest drop by far, with over 20 lakh names removed, primarily due to permanent shifting and deaths. Grasping these demographic and administrative shifts is absolutely key for your governance and polity modules. Next up, Section 3, Governance, specifically focusing on OTT platform regulation. Now, this is a total hot-button issue right at the intersection of technology, law, and fundamental rights. Pay close attention to the regulatory shift here. Traditional theatrical movie releases, they require prior certification from the CBFC under the Cinematograph Act of 1952. But OTT streaming platforms operate under a totally different framework, the IT rules of 2021. So instead of pre-certification, they are managed via post-publication executive control. Specifically, Section 69A of the IT Act allows the center to block content online under very limited grounds, like threats to the sovereignty, integrity, and security of the state. Going from pre-certification to executive blocking is a massive, fundamental evolution in how digital content is governed in India. Let's pivot to science and technology with Section 4, Breakthroughs in Quantum Computing. An Indian lab under the National Quantum Mission has just designed a brand new algorithm. But to really wrap our heads around what we call quantum advantage, we actually have to ask a kind of counterintuitive question. What is a quantum computer actually bad at doing? Lead researcher Indrakshi Ray Chaudhary hit the nail on the head with this one. If you ask a multi-million-dollar quantum computer to do basic arithmetic, like literally just adding two numbers together, it struggles immensely compared to a cheap pocket calculator. But if you ask it to simulate a highly complex, interacting quantum system where particles are constantly influencing each other, it excels exponentially. Her team designed an algorithm that proves exactly this. It's a huge step forward for India's indigenous quantum software capabilities, especially since we currently have to rely on foreign hardware for this stuff.
Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, Environment and Earth Sciences.
I've got 3 quick-fire updates here that you can easily leverage to enrich your GS Paper 3 answers. First up, we have some compelling new satellite data spanning over a decade. It shows that 71% of large dams across the U.S. significantly alter downstream water temperatures. Basically, they warm the river waters, and this thermal shift persists for at least 20 kilometers downstream. The so what for your exam is the ecological impact. This persistent warming disrupts fish spawning and severely damages those downstream aquatic ecosystems. Second, let's look at a fascinating update in plate tectonics. Underwater sensors in the Indian Ocean have captured a super rare seafloor rifting event. They watched magma moving incredibly smoothly under the crust, which actually caused the seafloor to sink by 4 meters and spread apart, pouring out 160 million cubic meters of lava. The crazy part? Much of this massive Earth-moving geological event happened without triggering severe earthquakes. It really changes our understanding of how magmatic processes can allow tectonic plates to just slide apart smoothly. And third, a really cool mix of history and environmental science. Researchers studying ancient latrines at Hadrian's Villa in Italy figured out why ancient Roman concrete actually grows stronger over centuries, while our modern concrete degrades and crumbles. It turns out their ancient lime mixture reacts with atmospheric moisture and carbon dioxide over hundreds of years to create calcite cement. This mineral literally fills in the cracks and reinforces the structure. So ancient Roman concrete effectively acts as a long-term solid rock carbon sink. How cool is that? As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a real brain teaser to challenge your analytical prep for the mains. Think about this. How does the shift from pre-certification to post-publication executive control fundamentally alter the balance of digital free speech and state security in India? Take a quick screenshot of this question, mull over the constitutional articles involved, and try drafting a solid 150-word answer. Keep exploring, stay structured in your studies, and I will see you all in the next explainer.